Have you ever needed something and not realized it until you've actually received it? I know what you're thinking, and no, it's not sex. It might be sex. This is the Elgato Stream Deck. As the name might not imply, this does not belong in the creek behind your grandmother's house. But if you stream video games or other content, you might consider dropping this on your desk. With its relatively small profile of approximately 120 by 85 millimeters and black plastic body, the Stream Deck won't disturb your desk's flow. 'Cause streams do that. But if it's too low profile for you, there is a cute stand included, allowing for a bunch of angles below 90 degrees. You can stand it fairly upright, or leave it flat as a pancake. All hands on deck. You'll find 15 glossy buttons with little LCD screens underneath. Each button can be customized with commands and icons in the Elgato Stream Deck software. Starting from the beginning, opening up the software will show you your button interface, a drop-down to select your Stream Deck if you have multiples connected, another drop-down to select your profile per Stream Deck, and a list of all the things you can do at the side. The thing has integration with a bunch of different streaming applications and services like OBS, XSplit, Twitch, and YouTube. Each application is collapsible if you want a cleaner look, and you can hide whichever you don't want to use or see. Within the well-endowed list of things you can do, you'll have the basic stuff like launching programs to things more tailored to streamers like simultaneously going live and sending out a tweet to let your followers know you've done so. Killing two birds with one stone. Setting multiple actions to a single button can be customized further by adding delays in between each step, just in case you don't want everything happening at once. What's more, you can implement things like microphone or webcam enabling or disabling, muting or unmuting your system, switching scenes, playing sound clips, switching profiles, start or stop recording, and even assign macros as if it were a gaming keyboard minus like 90-ish keys. To assign an action to a button, simply drag it over from the side onto the tile. From there, you can customize it with a title, the relevant parameters, and change the icon. It's a fairly easy process, and I'm sure you'll have it done in a jiffy. Speaking of which, this thing supports those. GIFs, that is. Or GIFs. Of course, depending on how custom you want to go, this could take a little longer. Elgato recommends a 72 by 72 pixel icon, so you may have to make some adjustments. Though, they also allow you to create your own on their website. Well, what if 15 buttons isn't enough? You can organize your commands into folders by right-clicking an icon or an empty tile, and going Move to Folder or Create Folder respectively. You can nest folders within folders, leaving you with basically infinite actions forever. That's what infinite means. A use case scenario provided to me that makes a bunch of sense is if a streamer decides to go AFK. At the push of a button, you could switch to your Be Right Back scene, mute your microphone, pause the follow and donation alerts, start up some music, post a message in chat, and run an ad or something. Why was the example provided to me? Because I don't stream. So, the majority of what this is intended for goes largely unutilized. However, I do play video games and edit videos and images where having more buttons than I already do is pretty helpful. I wouldn't exactly use this for anything that requires perfect timing since there is a minor but noticeable delay between the key press and the executed action, but it's great for simplifying hotbars for things like menu items or chat macros or combining several actions into one step. What's more, you can click the cogwheel up top in the software and assign profiles to certain programs that will dynamically adjust to whatever applications you have open. In that same cogwheel, you can rename your Stream Deck, update your software or firmware, set brightness and a sleep timer for each Stream Deck, and add some streaming or social media accounts. So the Stream Deck seems as swift as a coursing river with all the force of a great typhoon. But there are a few gotchas. In terms of software, while the unit is meant to be highly customizable and will most likely vary from person to person, I still think it would have been neat to have import and export functions, just in case you want backups for whatever reason. And then there's the silly aesthetic thing. The Stream Deck kind of doesn't really support RGB, but it kinda does. You can use GIFs, or GIFs, kindly provided by Elgato to make a rainbow wave, but it's not something I would consider to be easy or convenient if you want to customize them with icons of your own, or create your own gradient of colors. Though, if Corsair and Elgato are in on this together, it would be really exciting to see some IQ integration with this and everything else in Corsair's lineup. And that's really the only thing I can think to complain about there. The software does need to be running for the Stream Deck to work, but it's really lightweight and I noticed no issues while leaving it up in the background. In terms of its physical design, the cable is roughly 58 to 59 inches long or almost 1.5 meters, which is probably fine for most people, but just like my ex, I would have preferred another 6 inches or so. Normally I fuss about not having a braided cable, but in this case, I'd kind of just really rather not see it at all. Using the stand has the cable coming up through the top, which I find aesthetically unappealing. I know it's petty, but I'm still having troubles finding things I hate about it. I would have preferred a small channel leading up the unit to route the cable upwards if you were to lay it flat, but the cable itself I would have liked originating from the bottom. The stand may require some modification to accommodate this, but that seems simple enough. The buttons are a bit mushy, which is probably preferable since it makes them quiet and therefore unintrusive to the viewer's experience, but I would have preferred a little more definition in the press, something just a bit more tactile than what feels like a rubber dome keyboard switch. And on the topic of buttons, they're slightly concave and lighting at certain angles does cause a bit of glare. though this is mostly remediated by adjusting the stand accordingly. The last thing to talk about is the price. You can find the Stream Deck on Amazon for about $140 US. The thing costs more than most full-sized, programmable, mechanical RGB keyboards. And you might be thinking, well, why wouldn't I just buy a full-sized, programmable, mechanical RGB keyboard instead of this thing? And to that, I say... Plus, you get cool icons and stuff instead of trying to remember if your pause break was bound to muting your microphone or blasting air horns. But Steven, whose name is spelled with a V and not a PH or an F. Who spells Steven with an F? That's Stefan. I don't even say it like that. I don't need that many buttons, and the Stream Deck is still too big. What do I do now? Well, first of all, get a desk, because if this doesn't have a comfortable spot on your battle station, I don't know what you'd be playing on if it wasn't a cardboard box or one of those little wooden fold-out tables. And secondly, Elgato still has you covered with the Stream Deck Mini. This one stands 2 inches tall and 3.25 inches wide, that is roughly 51 and 83 millimeters respectively, and sports 6 buttons of the same design with no adjustable base, but is otherwise the same in terms of functionality and software. Fill this one up full of sound clips and you've got yourself a babbling brook. Brooks are smaller than streams, right? Both units have rubber along their bases, and they did well in remaining steadfast while my clumsy sausage fingers prodded at them with the least amount of grace you'd ever see in a living being. That being said, the Mini comes in at $100 US, so if you don't need as many buttons as the original Stream Deck and you want to save some cash, it's definitely an option to consider. So let me know if you'd sign a check for that Stream Deck, or if the whole thing is just a wreck. And so that's all I have to say about that. Like, dislike, comment, subscribe, share, leave me questions if you got them. Thanks for watching. My name is Steven with a V and not a PH or an F, and I am a little dim. Bye-bye. I only say that because a lot of people in comments and in the email and in emails spell my name with a PH. I've had 2 people spell it with an F like Stefan. It's not even pronounced the same. I don't know. I just thought you might be interested. Maybe. Probably not. I don't know. Whatever. What's more, you can implement things like microphone or webcam. To assign an action to a button, simply drag it over from the side onto the tile. From there, you can customize it with a little title, not another tile. You can organize your commands into folders by right-clicking, yes. I wouldn't exactly use this for anything that requires... Sometimes my mouth feels... Sometimes my mouth feels like it gets stuck, and then the words sound garbled, and then I don't know if it actually comes out garbled, because when I edit it back, when I go back to edit, it sounds more or less fine, but in my head it sounds like it's coming out muffled sounding, and it's weird. I don't know where I was going with that. It sounded funnier in my head, and then when I said it out loud, I found $5. Yeah, that's the dead meme. I messed up because it's... And then I found $5, whatever, I don't care. Set brightness and a sleep timer, yeah. But there are a few gotchas in terms of software. There are a few gotchas, period. In terms of software, okay. In terms of software, while the Munit, yeah, good. The buttons are a bit mushy, which is probably preferable since it makes them quiet and therefore unintrusive to the viewer's I always forget to mute that. The thing costs more than most full-sized, programmable, mechanical, RGB Fill this one up full of sound clips. Clips, yeah. Thanks for watching. My name is Steven with a V and not an F or a PH, and I reversed the order. Oops. Thanks for watching. My name is Steven with a V and not an F. I did it again.